Lads and ladies, the worst kept secret in the world is here, that being the Sora 26 June update, which was accidentally leaked earlier this week. Now, if you want to save yourself some time, here is my too long didn't read opinion on the Sora 26 update. That being that the update is not very good. But if you want the longer version, then here we go. We're going to go section by section here, starting with numero uno, the individual competition structures. The key point here effectively being that the individual league competitions are now only being offered for in-season entries, which, I'll be honest, was a change I could see coming with the way classic cards have lost a lot of their utility and competitive edge, and the way they've been treated by Sora. In one sense, to me, it makes sense to fully differentiate Classic and In-Season at this point, instead of just offering the same basic competitions across the two, but with minimal rewards in Classic. This does then, however, present the potential problem of Classic being fully put on the back burner as it has in the past, the forgotten stepchild, if you will, because the league-specific competitions are a core part of Sora's gameplay, so I'm glad they're here to stay, even if only for in-season, but it does show that they're pushing Classic even further away from the main game itself. But I guess we'll take the positives that the league competitions are here to stay in some capacity at least, and then there's a cheeky mention that Sora are looking at expanding these league-specific competitions, so that's nice to see as well, that league licenses are still a priority in Sora's mind. Personally, I would love the English Championship, but realistically, I think this means we're looking at Ligue 1 in France, and then perhaps some Benelux actions could be quite cool as well, but time will soon tell. Time will soon tell. That sounded weird, right? Time will soon tell. I don't fucking know, fuck me. And we're now going to skip a few sections and jump straight into the new Classic gameplay for Sora 26. So 7. Now, funnily enough, I made a video last month about how Sora could implement So 11 into the game, so I'm glad to see expanding the gameplay in a similar manner was always in the back of their minds. You know, whether a successful So 7 introduction eventually leads to a potential So 11 game mode, that remains to be seen, wishful thinking perhaps. But for now, let's see what we're dealing with. The lineup aspect makes the most sense to me in regards to having the second forward spot act as an extra. Interesting that they went for no sub-mechanics here, but I think there should be enough of a skill edge for managers to still manage to go out and pick 7 players who are starting in their lineups, and there's enough cards on the market to do so, so I don't think it's too much of a problem. But here is where Classic gets a bit dicey, and by dicey I mean all kinds of fucked up, because Challenger and Contender have been completely scrapped from the Classic game mode. And to me, that's kind of fucking crazy and easily the worst part of this Sora 26 update. Instead, we have All-Star, Under 23 and Champion Europe with 3 entries each, and then the ability to unlock a 4th entry mentioned lower down in the blog. So up to 12 Classic lineups, but you know, in All-Star you're going to be going up against the best of the best. That's going to be difficult and kind of fucking pointless. Champion Europe, that's pretty much going to be kind of the same. Also going to be kind of fucking pointless for managers like myself. I kind of also feel like a lot of my Challenger and Contender cards are now kind of fucking pointless and going to struggle in the new Classic format. I can only really put them in All-Star, right? And they're certainly going to struggle as standalone All-Star cards in this new format, there's no doubt about that. So while I enjoy the overall aspect of a new and exciting So 7 dynamic on the whole, the competitions on offer have almost pushed it into needing a full elite team of Champion Europe players just to compete in any of the brackets. And it's already hard enough for us right now. I mean, I don't know why they couldn't at least merge Challenger and Contender into their own area at least. Perhaps Sora just didn't have the rewards to dish out, or perhaps they just didn't have the energy to give a fuck. Now, this is all made even more impactful by the fact that Classic will now be devoid of any cold hard cash money winnings, with podium spots no longer rewarding out said cold hard cash money, which really hurts to see. And to me, it feels like Sora as a company have really struggled to keep Classic up to speed with the rest of the game and how the game's, you know, grown to the user demand to be sustainable with the money that comes in or some bullshit. I don't fucking know. All in all, it just means Classic is pretty fucking dead right now. So I'm gonna have to say it and break it down as it's written. The game has almost fully become, in my eyes, a yearly gambling platform in terms of trying to get value from money from in-season cards. The game feels like a shadow of what it once was basically at Classic, which may seem crazy to say considering only 2 weeks earlier I made a video in defense of Sorare, which was probably kind of fucking stupid of me now, but there you go. You know, you're going to be able to pick up a few cards here and there from Classic and potential essence crafts and such, but at this point, you're going to have to plow money into overpriced in-season cards early doors to have any attempt of beating the house over the season. It's like a glorified game of blackjack, but you have to remember, the house always wins. I mean, removing challenger and contender, or at the very least not merging them into one competition as a silver lining, is quite a perplexing decision at the face of it for their current customers. Really feels like Sorare are trying to cordon off Classic as its own separate entity to the in-season cards and basically run it into the ground so we all forget that it ever existed. But that's enough said about that. Let's have some perspective regarding the remaining updates on this blog. Hot streaks are back, and this time for all of the league-specific competitions that Sora 26 has to offer, and that's great news. You can't put that any other way. It felt like the MLS was a test run, and now they're bringing hot streaks over to Europe, as I'm sure most of us would have expected. But the big news for me here is that you only need to have 4 in-season cards to qualify for the hot streaks, which I think could be massive in terms of making a cost-effective team. As we'll be able to save money on an in-season goalkeeper card, like the good old threshold days of 2021. Any account that has a slew of classic goalkeepers stocked up will have a much bigger incentive to make the crossover to in-season for Sora 26 and go for those hot streaks. We've then got lineup bonuses, which is a cool addition to fight against stacking. I think is a great idea not only from managers' perspectives, increasing fair competition, but also from Sorares, as now managers who often spend big will still buy into collections to get max collection bonus for their players, but they'll also have to spread their wallet further among other teams to achieve the multi-club bonus, another new addition. Also nice to see a cap bonus thrown in there for the lower budget managers, also maybe providing a bit of a small skill edge for those who are able to game the cap a bit with certain 0-point players and specific matchups. As I say, anything to keep the competition fair while increasing the skill edge in some capacity, I'm all here for. We've then got Arena, which is now permanent with unlimited entries. I mean, that's cool, I guess. I haven't super got into Arena so far since its inception, but we'll have to try the new look version more once it comes into full fruition next season. Full details coming closer to the new season launch in July, which I've noticed a lot with this blog. They are announcing a lot of stuff, but not actually fully telling us all of the details until closer to the season, when the season is already only 2 months away, and you'd have to think new cards are perhaps only a month or so around the corner. Not really giving us a lot of time to plan. Kind of makes it harder for us in the immediate short term to fully gauge where we as managers want to go with this new update, but that's classic Sora announcement of the announcement meme culture for you, I suppose. We've then got sealing cards, something that is already apparently available in MLB and has been adapted for soccer, locking them to your account and boosting your sealing level bonus. All sounds like a cool idea in principle, depending on what the benefits and boosts are. But once again, we don't actually know, as more will be revealed later this summer. What? I appreciate Sora have to test and work out certain kinks for all of these updates, but every single iteration they've introduced so far in this Sora 26 blog, they haven't really actually told us how it will work. I mean, sealing sounds cool in theory, but what are the boosts? What is the max percentage boost I can gain from sealing? What are the exclusive gameplay features I can unlock? I'd probably seal my Inter Milan lads, as I don't plan on selling them anytime soon, but what is the benefit? I need to know. At least there is a mention here at the bottom of unsealing cards, so it doesn't seem like a permanent lock at least, so there's always options there, but it's all a bit too vague for me to truly judge it so far. You'd almost be stupid not to seal the cards you're not going to sell, otherwise you'd just be losing out on potential bonus points on the leaderboards. I don't know. I guess we'll find out in a couple of months. Here we have missions. Sora seem to be expanding this more than the basic gameplay they offer right now, and that's a good thing. Again, I haven't fully paid attention to missions or daily decisives, as the XP just doesn't feel worth my time really doing it. Whether that's true or not, I can't tell you. That's just for me. But, if they can expand missions to include, potential milestones, more varied kind of rewards. Stack rewards could also be an option, sort of like the hot streaks. Any way to improve missions is a win, so I'm happy with this, and it could give a strong incentive to truly go for them each game week. We've then got the Sora Championship, a long format gameplay edition, which is something I've been asking to return ever since the long format Euro Leagues. Again, we'll call this a positive thing, as an extra bit of utility for our cards, even if the initial prizes do look to be in real life rewards, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, I'd rather have the money, but a signed shirt could be cool as well. But it's all not completely clear though, mind, because once again, we won't find until a few months down the line. And then finally, we're almost there, crafting. Now this won't be available at the start of the season to prevent early overpowered tier 0 crafts, but it looks like Sora are simplifying crafting to one fixed tier for the essence you hand over. except now it's like a draft selection process, and you can pay more essence to reveal certain traits like league or nationality, and you can also get like a guaranteed tier 0 card in there with a lucky draw, but you won't actually know if you've got the lucky draw because you're picking from a draft and it's all random. Yeah, it all sounds so much simpler, trust me. Jokes aside, I'm sure this will be a cool update to crafting to give it a bit more pizzazz. You know, it seems like they're trying to make it more like the Ultimate Team draft selection process. Imagine it will help with content for things such as YouTube and TikTok, you know, craft reveals, you won't believe who I fucking drafted, and all that shit, which is perhaps what Sora want to allow a bigger reach and enticement to that kind of audience. That audience most likely being kids who gamble on Ultimate Team packs, but still an audience nonetheless. So there you go, there's the yin and yang of the update. My opinion, it seems quite panicky and narrowly focused on siphoning money out of the in-season managers with no real afterthought for the classic crowd. Where does this leave me and my channel? I'll be playing Sora rain or shine. The weather is actually kind of irrelevant as to whether I play Sora, as I do all of my Sora activity indoors, but you know, I'll be there. But I did decide a while back that I won't be putting in any more outside money into the game from my end just as a personal choice, and this update has only solidified that decision, mostly due to the fact that the monetary outlay and return in conjunction with the enjoyment levels that the game brings right now just isn't there, and it hasn't been there for some time. Take last game week, for example. I had numerous teams scoring in that 300 to 400 zone, and I've won 13 essence and some XP. And I'm not going to sit here and complain in the sense that I feel like I deserve more. Let's be real, we know this isn't a very good game week, it's just not up to scratch these days. But I'm still allowed to sit here and say I'm just not having as much fun with the game right now. And of course I would enjoy having some in-season teams for the big leagues, especially now that a classic keeper is allowed to push for those hot streaks. But we'll see how it all pans out. I'm not going to go out of my way to make that happen with the direction the game is going in, but at the very least I'll be here playing the game at Classic Limited level, mostly because I can't be asked to sell any of my players. Now in terms of the channel and the videos I put out, I appreciate in recent times I have become more of a football, crypto, web3 gaming channel as opposed to a Sora channel. You know, years back you would pretty much only see Sora videos coming from myself, but you may now notice that I post a lot more Footium and MFL content, and hopefully in the future even more varied games such as Club or Football.fun for instance. And it may be because those games are new, exciting and trending, or whatever you want to call it, but it's also quite frankly because I find them a lot more fun at this very moment transcended in time. And I do appreciate that some of you may only have subscribed from my Sora videos and have no interest in these other games, and fair enough. I can't argue. Thanks for persisting with me through the ride this long, and I hope you can still stick around for the Sora action. But if you do like my other content, that's pretty cool as well. I hope you'll continue to see what shit I do, and I'll catch you then, because this was fucking long, and I love you.